is it possible to create an AI system that you fall in love with and it falls in love with you and you have a romantic relationship with it or a deep friendship, let's say?
I would hope that that is the design criteria for any of these systems. If we cannot have a meaningful relationship with it, then it's still just a chunk of silicon.
So then what is meaningful? Because back to sugar.
Well, sugar doesn't love you back, right? So the computer has to love you back. And what does love mean? Well, in this context, for me, love, I'm going to take a page from Alain de Botton. Love means that it wants to help us become the best version of ourselves.
Yes. That's beautiful. That's a beautiful definition of love. So what role does love play in the human condition at the individual level and at the group level? Because you were kind of saying that we should really consider humans both at the individual and the group and the societal level. What's the role of love in this whole thing? We talked about sex. We talked about death, thanks to the bacteria that invented it. At which point did we invent love, by the way? I mean, is that also?
No, I think love is the start of it all, and the feelings of, and this is sort of beyond just romantic, sensual, whatever kind of things, but actually genuine love as we have for another person, love as it would be used in a religious text, right? I think that capacity to feel love more than consciousness, that is the universal thing. Our feeling of love is actually a sense of that generativity. When we can look at another person and see that they can be something more than they are, and more than just what we, a pigeonhole we might stick them in. We see, I mean, I think there's, in any religious text, you'll find voiced some concept of this, that you should see the grace of God in the other person, right? That they're made in the spirit of what, the love that God feels for his creation or her creation. And so I think this thing is actually the root of it. So I would say I don't think molecules of water feel consciousness, have consciousness, but there is some proto micro quantum thing of love. That's the generativity when there's more energy than what they need to maintain equilibrium. And that, when you sum it all up, is something that leads to, I mean, I had my mind blown one day as an undergrad at the physics computer lab. I logged in, and when you log into Bash for a long time, there was a little fortune that would come out, and it said, "Man was created by water to carry itself uphill." And I was logging in to work on some, problem set, and I logged in and I saw that, and I just said, "Son of a bitch." I logged out, and I went to the coffee shop, and I got a coffee, and I sat there on the quad, and like, it's not wrong, and yet WTF, right? So when you look at it that way, it's like, yeah, okay, non-equilibrium physics is a thing. And so when we think about love, when we think about these kinds of things, I would say that in the modern day human condition, there's a lot of talk about freedom and individual liberty and rights and all these things, but that's very Hegelian. It's very kind of following from the Western philosophy of the individual as sacrosanct, but it's not really couched, I think, the right way, because it should be, how do we maximize people's ability to love each other, to love themselves first, to love each other, their responsibilities to the previous generation, to the future generations. Those are the kinds of things that should be our design criteria, right? Those should be what we start with, to then come up with the philosophies of self and of rights and responsibilities. But that love being at the center of it, I think when we design systems for cognition, it should absolutely be built that way. I think if we simply focus on efficiency and productivity, these kind of very industrial era, all the things that Marx had issues with, right? That's a way to go and really, I think, go off the deep end in the wrong way.